Hey guys, it's Ginger from Gingerly Designs and Soulful Things, and today I'm going to show you guys a little bit about texture mediums. I'm going to try to explain to you some tips and some advice that I have from the 15 years that I've been creating wholesale art, but using these products for even longer. And just there's a whole bunch of options out there, so I just wanted to kind of explain different things about it as far as the texture or why I may use it or how it repels or absorbs paint, different stuff like that. So I thought maybe you guys would appreciate knowing some of this. Okay, let's do something creative. Okay, so let's get going then. Here's a bit about different texture mediums. I've got some gloss medium here. Again, I've mentioned before, I just love golden products. So it just so happens that all of these are golden, but I love them. There's a reason for it, that they're all golden. This is the gloss medium. There's a fluid matte medium. I've got some molding paste here, and I've got some extra heavy gel matte and some extra heavy gel gloss. So in previous videos I've told you this extra heavy gel gloss is the thing that I use probably the very most, especially on the foregrounds. I use the molding paste a ton on the backgrounds, and depending on what I'm doing I actually use the gloss medium a lot as well. And I use extra heavy gel matte on lots of different things. I'm going to show you some examples, but I especially end up using it on abstracts. So I just wanted to kind of show you a little bit about the different products. Gloss medium, it's really liquidy. It shakes up. It's got a different viscosity than even like Elmer's glue, for instance. And I use it a lot. It's a general purpose acrylic fluid is what it says. You can actually mix paint into it, but I use it a lot when I'm doing my when I'm attaching paper, or if I'm attaching, you can even like attach buttons and stuff like that with it. So I use this a lot for more mixed media purposes. And then the fluid matte, the great thing about the fluid matte is, one obvious thing is that it's matte. So you can imagine that with the gloss, if you're putting a water-based product on the dry gloss medium, it's going to be slick, and therefore it's not going to absorb any of the paint. It's just going to slip on top of it. And so, however, that being said, when it dries, when your fluid paints dry, or even your craft paints, when your liquidy paints dry, it actually, you can wipe it off of the gloss medium that might be sitting on top of the paper that you used for your background. So you can actually reveal different parts of your background because it's gloss that it'll wipe off. It kind of almost repels the paint. Whereas the matte has a tendency to have some tooth to it, and so it actually kind of binds with the paint a little bit more, and it makes it a little bit trickier to just wipe things off of your surface. So depending on what you want to do or what style you're looking for, that would be a good reason to use the gloss versus the matte. Just as a pointer there. Also, the gloss doesn't necessarily take watercolor pencils as well, whereas the matte will. And another easy trick is to, after using the gloss or the matte, is to come back with clear gesso, which clear gesso is the bomb, because it lets your work underneath still show through, but yet because it has that tooth, you can actually paint over it or use oil sticks or watercolor crayons or any of that kind of stuff, and it'll give it something to hold on to. It's just clear gesso, which is so fantastic. Then this is the molding paste, which I've talked about before for backgrounds. On the background video, I've talked about molding paste. Molding paste is one of my very favorite things. I love it, and it's got such a great texture to it. It does, to a degree, hold a peak. That one's holding really well, but when you're doing a whole bunch of it on a canvas, it will hold a peak like that, but it won't hold like a big wave of a peak if that's the look that you're going for. So it just kind of depends on the look that you're going for. It also dries a little bit more chalky. It is more opaque, and so therefore you can't see something underneath through it. But it is fantastic, and it has more of a satin finish versus the gloss finish. So I love molding paste. It makes me very happy. Then I'm going to show you the extra heavy gel matte, which this is just a small tub. I have a big tub of it. I normally travel with these smaller tubs because they're just easier to deal with. The gel matte though, the extra heavy gel matte, because they have different levels of heaviness, if you will. So they have like fluid, and then they have, which was like that fluid matte medium. And then it goes on up to, there's a medium gel matte, medium heavy gel matte, and then there's like a just heavy gel matte, and then there's a extra heavy gel matte. I like the extra heavy because again, it holds peaks. Because it's gel, it has a tendency, for instance, after it's dry, you actually can like kind of stick your fingernail in it and it will make an indentation. Whereas something like the molding paste, it dries completely solid. Like you can't stick your fingernail in and make an indentation. Whereas with the gel, you actually can, which sometimes poses a little bit of a problem, because I'm going to tell you, like on, again, a lot of you may be familiar that I wholesaled for a long time, and so we would ship out lots and lots of product, and I would have to make sure that the art would cure on the shelf long enough that when we packaged things and we shipped it out, that like an edge of one piece didn't press into the content of another piece and cause there to be a dent in it, if you will. So you have to kind of be aware of that. It's not about being careful, but it's being aware. Now, the difference between the molding paste and the gel, whether it be the matte or the gloss gel, is that this guy will hold like just huge peaks, and it'll hold huge peaks all the way across a canvas. So you can make like a giant wave on something and it's just gonna totally be fine. It'll take a while to dry, a really long while, but it's going to be fine. It'll hold that peak and it'll be really 3D off of your canvas, which is really, really fun. And that is definitely the type of art that I've done the most over the past 13 years with painting angel wings and crosses and flowers and hearts and Easter bunnies and little baby Jesuses and just all kinds of stuff. So that gel matte is a great product depending on what you're trying to do. Again, I'm going to show some examples here in just a moment. Then my very favorite is the extra heavy gel gloss, and it also has a similar texture to the gel matte, and the biggest difference obviously is the gloss versus the gel versus the matte. But it also has, in addition to just being a little bit of a different finish, you can tell that the color is actually even a little bit different. It's very pure white, whereas this actually has a little bit of a grayish tint to it. But when it dries, again, I'll show you an example. When it dries, it actually dries kind of it almost looks like beeswax on a canvas. So as a result, you can actually do like a faux encaustic by using extra heavy gel matte, maybe tinting it with just a little bit of liquid acrylic, because these are all tintable. Incidentally, you can add paint to any of these and make a color. I do appreciate doing that. I do enjoy doing that, but I find that I use them the way that they are more than anything. At most, I would maybe mix them with white, particularly this extra heavy gel gloss, or with a metallic gold paint. But yeah, mostly, or gray sometimes also, but in general, I have a tendency to either use it clear or just with white. But this one is great. It has a little bit of a different texture than the matte. In addition to, like I said, the finish being different, it also has a little bit of a different texture. But it holds peaks amazingly well. And I will show you what I mean. So you can do like this and it will hold all of those peaks there when they're dry. All of those peaks. And so, and this one's going to dry gloss. This is going to dry completely matte, but a little bit where you can make an impression still sometimes. The molding paste is going to dry completely matte and a little bit chalky even, so it has a tendency to want to absorb color more, whereas these two, it sits on top because they're gel. And then this is the fluid matte medium and the gloss medium, which is also fluid. It just doesn't say in the name, but it is a fluid gloss medium. Okay, so that is texture mediums in a nutshell, and we talked a whole bunch about some really cool products that hopefully it helps you out a little bit to make it easier, more streamlined for you. You can make better decisions when it comes to buying these various products that are available, since there's so many out there. I know it can be very confusing, so I thought maybe it would help out for me to share some of this information with you. So if you have any questions or requests, please make a comment down below, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up on this video, and please also subscribe to my channel so we can keep you up to date and posted when we put new things out there. Okay, y'all take care. Peace out.